Good morning. It is Monday, March 27th. Welcome into Studio AP for the next 2 hours. Kyle Robinson alongside Damon Hack and our professionals Robert Dameron and Paige McKenzie. Lauren Thompson will be with us as well. Now, yesterday, Dustin Johnson won his 15th PGA Tour title and 5th World Golf Championship. And if you missed any of that electric match, don't worry. We've got all the highlights of DJ versus Rahm at the Dell Technologies match play. We will revisit what went down in Austin in just a moment.
And not only are we going to look back, we're going to take a look forward. Of course, the LPGA and the women of the game teed up in golf's first major at the ANA Inspiration this week in the Palm Springs desert. You won't want to miss the preview that we have for you.
Guys, I'm excited to hear from Damon Goddard, who's also known as Jordan Spieth's trainer. I could use a couple fitness tips. Maybe two or three sit-ups.
We didn't want to say anything, Robert.
Is that why I had to set this one up?
Oh, no worries.
Is this an intervention?
It's a perfect team.
Oh, thank you.
It's a perfect team.
How about this contrast of emotions we saw between Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm? Is there a proper way to emote? We'll ask Dr. Gio Valiante. Looking forward to that conversation.
Alrighty, well, it was just 9 months ago that Jon Rahm was low amateur at the US Open. Look at him in the background of this footage, because it was, of course, the same week that Dustin Johnson broke through to win his first major. Well, it didn't take long for Rahm to get comfortable in the professional circuit. Let's get straight to highlights from yesterday's championship match. That was the opening handshake. We're going to join the action on the 12th hole. DJ 3 up at this stage, Robert.
And doing what DJ does, hitting it just a mere 424 yards. I know that it got a good bounce, a little off the cart path. Still, 424, that's just ridiculous.
One of 16 drives we saw over 400 yards last week at Austin Country Club. He would go on to win that hole. He would be 4 up. Now Rahm 4 down on the 13th tee, Paige.
Well, and when you're 4 down at this position, you have to try to make something happen. And I didn't know this was possible either. That's a par 4, everybody.
Everything's possible to Jon Rahm.
Quite remarkable. Drove the green. He would birdie with a 2-putt. He would win that hole to get to 3 down. So after cutting the deficit on 13 and 15, he's now 2 down and putting for birdie on the par 5 16.
After maybe his worst drive of the week, he had to lay out and then hit a very, very mediocre wedge shot. But a good putter will make up for a lot of mistakes.
That was unbelievable. I sat up on my couch. No way did Jon Rahm just hold that putt. Look at the reaction. Now, as you say, 1 down with driver at the par 4 18th, Page, the first time he's played this hole in competition all week.
Yes, and again, he still has to make something happen. He has to win this golf hole to extend the match, have any sort of possibility of winning this event. And he takes out driver and nearly drives the green. I think he had a little too much club there. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe an iron would have been better. I don't typically drive it over par 4 green, so I don't have much advice for him there. It was a great drive. I mean, dead on line. Just a big, big bounce.
Yeah, DJ had been laying up all week long. This his second from 116 yards. And didn't get all of it.
There had to have been a little mishit because there's a slope behind the hole where he could have thrown it back there and used that to get it in closer. And for as strong a wedge player as DJ is, that was a little surprising.
So you'd think the door would be open from Rahm, but this, a disappointing moment.
And this is that ledge you were talking about, Robert. He just wanted to get it another 3 feet, maybe to catch the ridge, but that is exactly what you don't want to do. You've got to give yourself the opportunity for a makeable birdie putt.
You could see his disappointment in his look at the crowd, shaking his head. Seemingly a noise distracted him. This was a must-make, Robert.
Yeah, he did have to make it. I rewound it a couple times. I didn't hear any noise. I think that's just an athlete not wanting to blame himself and blame someone else. But to leave himself that putt was kind of inexcusable in the situation he was in.
So a simple par tap-in for the win, and Dustin Johnson wins WGC Dell Technologies match play. He played 112 holes this week and amazingly never trailed in his matches that ran across some 7 days. He got off to an early lead against Jon Rahm yesterday afternoon, 5 up through 8 holes, but the fiery young Spaniard was able to produce some clutch moments down the stretch to take the match all the way to 18. 7 matches across 5 days, Now, Dustin had entered the week with a losing record in this event, but he went 7-0 to claim the Walter Hagen Cup, making it his 3rd consecutive win on the PGA Tour after victories both at Riviera and the WGC in Mexico. He amazingly becomes the only player to complete the Grand Slam of World Golf Championships, sweeping all 4. Tiger Woods never captured the HSBC champions, but he does join Tiger as just the 2nd player to win back-to-back WGCs, and he is just the third player to win this event as the #1 seed alongside Tiger and Rory. All three of those consecutive wins on the PGA Tour, by the way, have been against incredibly strong fields at Riviera, Mexico, and then, of course, Austin, both of them WGCs. Robert, it seemed as if there was never going to be anyone else to beat this week from the word go.
No, but on the other side of the bracket, Jon Rahm was winning pretty handily on his side. He was dominant, as we would say, dominant. But no, DJ.
Who says that?
I said it. But no, DJ coming in, he's won the last two events he played in, as we said, and his maturity level is just amazed me. We always know about his talent, his long drives. He's improved his wedge game, of course. But we're going to hear from Dr. Gio later. His mental game has to be perfect. I mean, he is a dream for a sports psychologist. He is so level. He's in the present, almost unaware of anything that comes in. All these crowds are following him. He backs off a shot maybe once a year or twice from distractions. He's just in the shot.
He makes it look easy.
Good. He does make it look
easy.
easy.
And I think that's what's interesting, top to bottom. You're talking about the mental game. I think he makes that look easy. You normally see players get frustrated if they hit a bad shot. He hits a bad shot, he lets it go and moves on to the next. You see players, I mean, he hits it 434 yards. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, but that's DJ, because that's what he does, and that's what he does differently. And then just around the greens, I mean, it was top to bottom, great performance. And even in this last match, he didn't have his best all day, but he still managed to get it done. And I think then he's got the scrambling side of it and the getting the ball in the hole side of it. So it's just one of those where you're looking at him right now and you're not seeing any weaknesses.
He has a great package right now of talent, physical, mental, but I think it took him a while to get here. I remember a conversation that Butch Harmon had with Sports Illustrated back in 2011. Butch called it a come to Jesus conversation, where Butch basically said, you know, DJ, what kind of player do you want to be? Do you want to be a great player or an all-time great player? And a lot of it had to do with preparation for Augusta National. I think it's a very interesting conversation now of what are the major storylines going to Augusta National. Jordan Spieth, obviously, the return to the 12th. Rory McIlroy going for the career Grand Slam. And Dustin Johnson now with these 3 consecutive wins. He has 2 top 10 finishes in his last 2 starts at Augusta. Now, can he take all of this talent, all of this great mental attitude that we see right now, and the way he's playing, and can he put on a green jacket? That's the question right now. He's already going to be a great player. He may be a Hall of Fame player, but can he have a U.S. Open and a Masters, which to me would take him to an even different level and a different conversation as a whole?
Well, Zach Johnson lost to him in the quarterfinals on Saturday morning. He said afterwards, Robert, that this last month, Dustin Johnson is playing as well as anyone has ever played the game. You agree with that comment?
No.
No.
Tiger Woods played the best anyone's ever played. I can't agree with that. But is he playing incredible? Is he playing the best we've seen anyone over the last 10 or 12 years? Yeah, I think so. Even when you go back to Rory winning the PGA and the Open Championship a couple years ago and at Firestone in between, this is probably a little bit better, maybe a step better. He's got that wedge game tightened down that Rory never had, and he's putting so well, and that's where Rory, even at his best, can be a little iffy, but not DJ.
And his putter wasn't even as hot yesterday afternoon as it could have been. Nevertheless, Jon Rahm called him the perfect, complete player. Let's transition now to Jon Rahm, who was seeking his second PGA Tour victory in just his 21st career start, which amazingly is the same start that Tiger Woods captured his second win in, while the Spaniard won his first PGA Tour title in only his 17th start at the Farmers Insurance Open earlier this year. He has had 6 other top 5s, including 1 as an amateur, and amazingly, he's only played in 2 World Golf Championships and finished in the top 3 both times. Paige, what were your impressions of him watching this match yesterday?
I think in a lot of ways I was disappointed because he did what no one wants to do in match play, and that's beat yourself. And he started out and just missed a lot of short putts to start. He got down a lot early. To go 5 down through 8 holes against the #1 player in the world. I mean, the idea that he even took him to the 18th hole was somewhat miraculous, considering it was disappointing to see, because you hate to see any player kind of beat themselves, because Dustin Johnson didn't have to do anything spectacular the first 9 holes.
Well, the thing is, Robert, he did also produce some moments of brilliance. Fearless is a word that you could use for Jon Rahm. He came back from 5 down with 10 holes to play. To echo Paige, I don't think anyone saw this match going to 18.
No, not through 8 holes, but I think it would be actually more hurtful to him had he started off hot and then collapsed. But starting off poorly and then gutting it out to get back to 18 and hitting shots like this, almost made a hole-in-one on 13 with a driver.
Amazing.
And then almost really slid it past the hole on 18 with a driver. he can learn a lot from that. He can take a lot of confidence from that because it's way different than starting off hot and falling apart.
He said he had his worst front nine possible that he could have. The worst front nine he could possibly play. He said, I maybe played as worse as I did in the entire week of all the rounds of golf he played, of all the matches he had. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday was the worst day, he said, of his golf. And he said, despite that, I almost beat the best player in the world. I think he will take confidence away from what happened yesterday at Austin. The fact that he was able to come back. I think big picture for the week, he's now the 14th ranked player in the world. You mentioned his 2 starts in WGC's top 3 finishes, his great finishes in his short, sample of major championship play, being low amateur. He made the cut at the Open. In big time events, in a small sample, we're seeing just how powerful Jon Rahm is.
Should he have won yesterday, he would have entered the world's top 10 in just his 39th week since turning professional. It took Tiger 33 weeks and his idol Seve 37 weeks. There is no doubt this guy is bound for greatness, I'm sure.
All right, guys, time for a watch and learn. Paige, you want to take a walk?
Absolutely.
These 2 powerful players. We're going to not focus so much on their drives. We're going to focus more on iron play and the short game. What do you think about that?
I like that because that's something everybody can work on in their own game. So let's take a look, starting with Dustin Johnson on the 2nd hole. And this shot, difficult shot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Ball's above the feet, trouble left, because when the ball is above the feet, the club head tends to turn over. So we're going to look for 3 adjustments that he makes. Number 1, he grips down on it. We'll be able to see that in a second. And then the second thing is the balance throughout his shot. So go ahead and roll this so we can see exactly what I'm saying. He almost hits a 3/4, almost hold-off shot. There's no getting off balance, which again, in an uneven lie, is so easy to do. So grip down on it first, then work on shorten your swing. You might have to take a little bit more club, move from a 7-iron to a 6-iron. And then the third thing is not allowing that toe to pass the heel.
Ooh, I love that. I love that,
Such a
Paige.
good picture on that slow-mo. You can see the holding off of it, again, protecting against the trouble on the left side.
Such a controlled swing. Also, a great athlete, showing the balance that he has in a very difficult life. How about this? This is what a little green reading we're going to learn here?
Yes. So he's just off the green, and he takes a bit of time, so we're going to fast forward this. But I want you to see where he's reading this chip from.
Okay.
And it's going to be all below the hole. And by that, I mean on the low side. This is a breaking chip from right to left. And you can see the entire time that he's reading it, he's reading from a lot of different directions, but it's always on that side of the hole. It's a lot easier to read the putt when the ball's coming towards you than if it's going away from you. So that's why a lot of players, I would say most players, choose the majority of their reading of putts or chips from the low side. And we can see just how well that paid off for him because that was a beautifully executed chip shot.
All these little subtleties to green reading. I've never heard this one before.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when the ball's coming to you.
We call it watch and learn for a reason. How about Rahm here off of the 7th green? This is another difficult situation here.
It is. And I think there's a variety of reasons he chose putter. Number 1, he putted it off the green.
Yes, he did. This
he had
is a
it
par
still
putt.
in his hand. But what I want you to watch for is exactly how the ball rolls off the club face. So we'll go ahead and roll this, and we'll take a look at it closer in. But it's a beautifully low stroke through the ball, and that's the key there, is at impact that the putter is coming into it very squarely through the ball, and he has enough loft on the putter to get it through that hairy grass. So we'll take a look right here. There is no backspin. You see it skip and then immediately roll forward. That's exactly what you're looking for in your putts. If you do come down into the ball, you're going to create some backspin, and it'll start to skip and stutter. That was perfectly executed.
And needed it at the time. That kept him at 4 down. All right, here he is on 10 off the green as well.
Yes, and it's a basic little pitch shot, ball behind the feet, way back in the stance. But what I want you to watch for is how he de-lofts the club through the shot. So we'll go ahead and roll this. And the point of this is that he wants to land it just shy of this green. He doesn't want to fly it all the way there. So he's able to take a wedge, a club he's very comfortable with. And then the key here is that you don't want to get that backspin on accident. So here, watch that left hand turn down. So this isn't a flippy move where the toe's crossing the heel. It's a turn down where that left wrist is almost bowing at impact.
Don't get flippy.
Don't get flippy.
Especially around the greens. Great stuff from Paige McKenzie. Hey, let's say good morning to Lauren Thompson. She has the tee sheet. What's up, LT?
Good morning, Damon. Yeah, don't get flippy. That's going to be one of my early takeaways already. What a fiery competitor in Jon Rahm, and he made the world #1 work for it. So with match play in the books now, we're spin to some major material as we are, yes, a week away from kicking off the Masters. And the 2015 champion, Jordan Spieth's trainer, is going to team up with Dr. Ara Sapaya today to talk about big-time gym do's and don'ts for golfers. Also in the coming days, Damon Goddard is going to walk you through the workouts he does with his multi-major champion client. Then from a good workout, straight to the range scene for the pros you nearly see every single week. But what should happen before and after hitting some warm-up balls? Michael Breed of the Golf Fix is going to walk you through the real-time schedule ahead of your tee time. We're going to put him on the clock from pulling in the parking lot to your opening tee shot and everything in between. A sneak peek of how to set yourself up for a successful round. But if you happen to miss any of the crazy moments from Sunday at Austin Country Club, like the ace from Tani Hara that we had in the Final Four, some insanely long drives and more, we've got those must-see moments coming your way. And Cara, that's one way to definitely rev things up on a Monday.
It certainly is. We've got another way, because do you guys need a quick tip on this Monday morning?
Yes.
Okay, we are going to take just 1 minute. You hear me? Just 1 minute to help you in either your round or practice session today. It's right around the corner, just after this on Morning Drive.
1 minute.
1 minute.
Oh, I'm giving the tip. I need a tip.
Yeah, you need to give it.
I'll brush it up in the break.
relying on
Don't
you.
worry about it.
Come up with
Got it.
something.
Okay, you got 3
I will.
minutes.